Konnichiwa. Today we're going to talk about something that people ask me very often, and that is, how hard is Japanese? Really, how hard is it? It has a reputation for being much harder than most other languages. And this is partly true and partly untrue. Fundamentally, as a language, Japanese is one of the simplest and most logical in the world. However, there are a few problems. The one people are most aware of is the idea that Japanese has 3 different writing systems and hundreds and thousands of characters. Now, this is true up to a point. It doesn't have 3 different writing systems, it has 2. Hiragana and katakana are essentially the same system, representing exactly the same sounds in ways that are sometimes very different and sometimes fairly similar. So it's no more 2 different writing systems than uppercase and lowercase is in English. You can learn hiragana in a week to 10 days. If you're taking more than a month to learn hiragana, honestly, you should probably question whether you're serious about the project, because I'm not talking about spending a week to 10 days solidly learning hiragana. I'm talking about doing that among other things. If you can't do it in a month, you're not really trying, you're not really committed. So it's a good time to start asking yourself, are you really sufficiently committed to learn Japanese? Because it is a big commitment. Any language is a big commitment. Kanji are a bigger job. There are thousands of them. You do need to know them. With the organic method, we learn them incrementally as we go along as part of vocabulary. And first it adds a certain amount to learning vocabulary. As you go along, you more and more find that they're your friends. But there's no getting away from the fact that this is a fairly major job that you don't get in most other languages. Now, the second thing that makes Japanese more difficult than related languages, that's to say if you're based in English and learning German, based in French and learning English, and so on, the other big problem with Japanese is that you don't know it already. Frankly, if you're based in English or any West European language, and you're learning another West European language, it's not like learning a foreign language in the way that learning Japanese is. A great deal of the vocabulary is closely related, and the structure of the language, while not the same, isn't wildly different. Now, on the other side, European languages are full of exceptions with pages and pages of irregular verbs. Japanese doesn't have any of that. It's an amazingly regular, logical language. But the fact that it's completely unfamiliar does make it harder at first. So if you just want to learn a language, if you're just wondering whether it would be a better idea to learn Japanese or French, go for French, because you got a lot more initial help in French than you have in Japanese. Japanese isn't actually harder, but it is harder to get up and started. It has a much steeper learning curve at the beginning. It's definitely not a good language for the 3-month language collector. And the fact that it's hard to get up and started at the beginning is one of the reasons why conventional Japanese teaches polyparrot Japanese. It tries to give you a false sense of security by telling you various Japanese words and phrases and saying what the equivalent meaning is in English, so that within a week or 2 you can have a sort of Japanese conversation, but you don't know why you're saying any of what you're saying, and you don't really know how it holds together, and you never do find out. And that's because Western Japanese grammar made the decision years and years and years ago to base its model of Japanese on European and classical models like conjugation and the passive voice, none of which has any relation to Japanese at all. So the further you go with poor structure, the more difficult it gets. Organic Japanese, on the other hand, doesn't spend the first week making you able to have parrot conversations where you don't know why you're saying what you're saying. It spends the first few weeks taking you through the basic structure so you actually know how simple sentences work. And the beauty of the structure is that the principles you learn at the beginning never change, and never really get more complicated, they just grow more branches. So if, like most, you don't learn the real structure, Japanese gets more and more of a nightmare as it goes along. But if you do learn the basic structure, essentially its simplicity and elegance shines out more and more as you go deeper and deeper into the language. But none of this actually makes Japanese an easy language. As a matter of fact, no language is really easy. In order to learn a language properly, you need to either love it or need it. Now, if you needed Japanese, you probably wouldn't be watching this video because you know you just have to get on with the job. So the question is, do you love it? Do you want to give a part of your soul, a part of your life to Japanese? Because if you don't, then it's probably best not to get started. You're never really going to get all that far. If you do, you'll be entering a wonderful world of imagination and beauty, and on the linguistic side, pure, almost magical logic and elegance of a language that's really like no other. Do you want to commit yourself to this? Do you want to give a part of your soul to Japanese? If you do, you can do it. It's a difficult starting curve, but it gets easier and more rewarding as you go along. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments below, and I will answer as usual. I'd like to thank my gold Kokeshi patrons and all my patrons and supporters who make these videos possible. Above all, what we're doing here is Japanese for those who love Japanese, or are learning to love Japanese, or are falling in love with Japanese. Japanese is a beautifully elegant and logical language, but it's not a cold language. It's a warm language. It's a language full of heart and beauty. And from the beautiful comments many of you leave me, and the wonderful support my patrons are giving me, I know that many of you are entering this adventure with your whole hearts. Thank you. Thank you for doing that, and I promise to go on supporting you every step of the way. これからもよろしくお願いします。Class dismissed.